It's been a fun time to talk about the Browns because, like, as much stress as you can have about, oh, Shador this, or, you know, you arguing with Shador fans. Hey, look, man, we ain't talking about nobody being injured. We ain't talking about nobody being fat. We ain't talking about nobody not coming to camp. We not arguing with our rookie first round draft pick over like meaningless exemptions in the contract. We not out here doing none of, nobody's in jail. Nobody's about to go to jail. Well, I don't know. There's Devin Bush situation. But like, you know, nobody's about to get suspended. Like, you look at the mini camps we've been going through. It's like, oh, Deshaun got shut down in the middle of mini camp. What does that mean? Oh, Deshaun might get suspended. What does that mean? All this stuff. And you know what? All we talking about is whether we're overanalyzing. More than likely, we are overanalyzing a rookie mini camp. Like, really, honestly. We could be in worse places. We have been
No. We've been in worse places. It's a breath of fresh air, actually. You know, it's not a lot of pressure on the Browns this season. You know, nobody's expecting a lot out of them this year. You know, at the end of the day, I think the only goal for this fan base is to find out what we need to do at quarterback. I think that's it. Like, outside of that, you know, if the Browns pull off 8 wins, 6 wins, you know, I think everybody will still be happy. You know, you just want to see at the end of this year, we need to know, is the quarterback on this roster? If not, be excited for the picks, for the one of the 2 picks that we got in the first round, and let's try to hit on one of those quarterbacks. So to me, they playing with house money this entire season.
I liken it to the 2018 season a little bit, where it's like that season was always going to be considered a success if you felt decent about quarterback after it, right? Whether that be, now this one's a little different, right? Because we didn't draft nobody number 1 overall, right? So it's not going to be solely about if one of these quarterbacks make us feel good, but it's like, hey, if we get to like December and we're looking around and we're like, it's 3 quarterbacks in the draft, we might be able to get the 2nd or 3rd pick. And we feel really good about those quarterbacks coming out of college football. That's going to have a similar effect to it's like, okay, well, we think Dylan Gabriel looks really good, right? Like, as long as we feel like there is a legitimate answer, a legitimate shot at getting a quarterback on the horizon, I think the win-loss record is going to matter a lot less than that feeling overall, because we could get to like 10-6, Kenny Pickett pulls a year out of his ass and then asks for $40 million in the offseason. We're going to be right back at square one.
Well,
right?
if that happens, we can't afford to pay him that, so we just helped him get paid by somebody else. That's all.
Yeah, it's like when Derek Anderson had that one hot year. It was like, well, that was useless for the future, right? Like, it didn't really do anything for us long term. So that's why I think the main goal should be for the Browns. I think we're all in agreement to that. Like, we want to feel at least not desperate at quarterback, right? We don't want to be debating whether we should be reaching for this guy or that guy. It's just, we want to feel like there are some real answers that we feel good about in the building by next season.
And you got, obviously, the quarterback's the big one. Then you got to look at left tackle with DeJuan Jones. You know, this would be his first full season starting as left tackle. You hope that he make it through. You know, his first 2 years in the NFL, he didn't make it through the full season. You know, he ended up getting hurt. So now you hoping, you know, everybody says that he looks good. He looked like he slimmed down some, which was big for him. You know, hopefully he looks like a guy that can be your left tackle of the future. And then you think about, you know, Quinshawn Judkins, you think about Harold Fannin Jr., you think about Mason Graham. You hoping that these guys are hit, like, yes, these are the guys that we finally hit on the draft, because AB, obviously, he's been missing on those picks. Hopefully those picks, those 4 picks that I just said, you know, hopefully those guys come in, make an impact for the future. And it's like, all right, we got some pieces to at least build around. And if all else fails, get Miles some help. I'm praying that Mike Hall and Mason Graham is the answer to Miles being able to be free and be able to get some more sacks.
I love how Ohio football oriented Tyvis's brain is, because he just goes from like proximity to Ohio whenever he names these football players. Because you named Harold Fannin before the 5th pick in the draft.
Harold Fanning he a big piece.
You were like Quinshawn, Ohio State for sure. Quinshawn, we got Mason too. That was the 5th pick.
Listen, he
But man,
ain't Mason Graham he
nah.
ain't what people consider a sexy pick. Harold Fanning, like I want to say this might be the end of David Njoku's contract. I think this is last year, or he might got another year left. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Mhm.
So if Harold Fanning actually shows light, like that's reason to be like, all right, David, we appreciate you, but time to pass the torch. So it's there. And then Carson Swessinger is the last one where it's like
Mhm.
you got to replace JOK. I don't think JOK is playing for the Cleveland Browns again, so we're gonna need that type of playmaking ability. Obviously, JOK was probably arguably the second best player on the defense behind Miles. You could say him and Denzel is a toss up, but that playmaking, the way he dissect plays, the way he shot his gun, it was truly missed when he left the field last year.
Absolutely, absolutely. My point is, Tyvis, when I talk to you, I get the same feel I get when I talk to a lot of people that play college football in Ohio, which is you spend a lot of time arguing with dudes about Florida, from Florida, about Ohio
Yeah.
football.
Yep. That's a fact. Everybody could they come talk to me about this Florida and this Texas and this Cali ball, and I'm like, I'm telling you, bro, that Ohio football different. That weather changes things.
The arguments you and Von Bell must have had. But
You don't even want to go down there, bro.
but it's gonna be something to see here, right? The Browns have a lot of youth on this team. They've had in the next two drafts, they will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 picks in the top 50 of
Something
the
like that.
draft, which basically is what they did not have
Yeah.
when they went and made that move for Deshaun. So it seems like they have fully admitted that this whole Deshaun Watson thing not only has not worked, but they need to make the steps in order to, replenish themselves with those assets. Money, it's going to be something else, right? You got to get off the contract, but they got the draft assets back, which puts them at a different place.
That's why you see them drag, in free agency. That's why they're like enamored with trying to get former first round picks. You seen them get JTS this year. You seen them get Kenny Pickett. Like those are guys because they didn't have it on their roster. You look
Jerry
at the roster
Jeudy last year.
Yeah, they're trying to get as many former first round picks to at least stack their roster up because they missed out on 2 or 3 years of being able to pick in the first round. So that's their way of trying to get back with the talent side.
Because you look at this roster, and it's funny how fast time moves in the NFL because I remember not too long ago, Nick Chubb, Miles Garrett, Denzel Ward, it was the super young core of guys that were just coming out. And now you're looking at them like, all right, these guys getting old now. Nick Chubb, he's out the core. Like he's on a different team now, on a pretty close to minimum contract out there in Houston. So now you got to look to have to be able to add guys to that core. When you look at this roster, just your opinion of it, the young guys that they've added over the last couple of years, do you think that there's anybody that you feel good about adding to that core of guys going forward?
Well, obviously, JOK would have been the easy answer.
Yeah.
He's gone now. I mean, not really.
What about Grant? How do you feel about Grant Delpit? Because he's an interesting.
See, Grant is one of those guys that first of all, he got to stay healthy. That's one of the things. And he's regressed. One thing, what I respect about Delpit is he's a guy that watches a lot of tape. He's a smart football player. But, and when he's out there early in the season, he's very productive. And then it just kind of falls to the wayside. Maybe he gets dinged up, maybe he gets hurt, but whatever the case may be, he never puts it together for 17 games. And that bothers me a lot with him because I know that I know he's a hard worker. Like I know this. I actually was at a OTA one day. This fool didn't even wait till he got off the field. He didn't even go to meetings. He stayed outside and had to look at the iPad to try to figure out what was wrong because it mattered to him that much. So for him, he needs to find a way to be more consistent for 17 games. When you think about, Miles being triple teamed, and then you got all these other guys, JOK not there, and then you got Denzel maybe in and out of the lineup, and you have Martin Emerson with a down year. We needed another playmaker on that defense, and he just, to me, didn't answer that bell like he was supposed to, and that can't happen this season. It's just, it can't. If this defense is going to be good again, he's got to play a major factor into that.
question. How do NFL players attack like consistency being in it? Because if you look at Grant Delpit's whole career, even college, right? He had the one amazing year in his junior year, and then his senior year, you know, people were like, it might be injuries, it might be this, but there was something going on where he just didn't look quite right.
Yeah.
He falls from a guaranteed top 10 pick to a second round pick.
Right.
And it's like, as somebody who has done that at an NFL level, like, how do guys attack fixing consistency when that's an issue? Because I just don't even know where somebody starts with that. Like, sometimes you good, sometimes like you not. Like, I don't
That's
know
what I'm saying. That right there is why that's why you see people in the league and you see people out the league, you know? And the thing, it's so hard to be consistent every day. But what I've learned is you have to pick something every day to focus on. Like that's the best way to stay consistent. You know, you at this point, the playbook shouldn't be an issue for him. He should be able to call out everything that's coming. He should be able to watch tape. And for him, it's about, all right, this game, I'm gonna focus on making sure I don't miss any tackles. I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna go shoulder to shoulder, or shoulder through thigh pad, eyes drive for 5, all of those things. Or it's I studied tape when they come out in this 3-by-1 formation in this gun far. 90% of the time, this is what's coming. So I'm getting ready to jump this. I've actually seen him do that. I've actually seen them come out in man-to-man. It was against Pittsburgh like 2 years ago. They came out in man-to-man. He was like a hole dropper. He knew what route was coming. He robbed it. He ended up picking it off. He could have scored, but he ended up falling short. But that's the type of splash plays we need to see. And it can't be, I see it 1 week and then I don't see it again for the rest of the season, which happened. And like I say, he got injuries that he deal with. So he needs to make sure right now, when they're on this little 6-week off season right now that they're on, he needs to make sure he's foam wrenching, he's doing yoga, he's doing resistance bands, because you can't have them little tissue injuries that's going to hold you out. You need a productive year this year. If you want this team to have any success, you have to be a focal point of that. And you don't have Juan Thornhill anymore. You're kind of the leader in the secondary. They have to feel you this year.
All right, let's move over to the offensive side of the ball. We'll get to quarterbacks in just a second, y'all, but we're going to start with the run game because that's a big focus of this team, right?
That's
Talking
everything.
about running the ball.
Yeah.
Now, when Kevin runs the ball, has an emphasis on running the ball, he pretty consistently gets you about 500 carries, right? But that was with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt heading that rushing attack. Two guys who have been featured backs in the NFL before prior to being on Nick Chubb, obviously, while with the Browns, but Kareem Hunt, prior to being with the Browns, had carried the ball like a featured back before. Now you're in this situation where you're going to have a similar commitment to running the ball, and this is my concern with it. You have, at the head of this, 2 rookies. Now, these 2 rookies might be Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb all over again, right? That's what we hope. But the reality is that you don't know with rookies. And right now, we trying to get the 500 carries. We got 4 running backs on the roster, realistically, right? Yeah. Jerome Ford, who, like, no disrespect to Jerome Ford, we have found out you give Jerome Ford 200 carries, he going to give you about 100 carries worth of production. You give him 100 carries, he going to be pretty good. Like, he drives you crazy when you give him 200. You give him 100. Okay, you getting 5.5 a carry. Jerome Ford's pretty useful. Like, you know, so that you know what that is. Like, you know, you cannot expand that and expect better efficiency. Like, at this point, it's just what Jerome Ford is. Pierre Strong, I don't know about you. I don't need to see more.
You know, he was one of those guys that when he first got here, I was like, yeah, you know, he can be really good. That man put that ball on the ground too much for me, and you cannot play in the league if you go continue to fumble the ball. It's just not going to happen.
Pierre Strong, I can't say no disrespect to him before saying this because it's just going to be read as disrespect. He run the ball with PlayStation 3 physics. Like, it seems like the slightest thing. You remember playing Grand Theft Auto 4 where, like, you just trip over for no reason? You bump into a garbage can, now all of a sudden your character on the floor. Like, that's what it's like.
Don't do him like that. Don't do him like that, man. Listen, his vision is very questionable. I will give you that. But like I say, my biggest issue with him is that he fumbles the ball. Like, that's you can't play running back in the league if you're gonna fumble the ball.
Tyvis is being nice. I know Tyvis would easily.
I'm trying to be politically correct. I don't like to bash players. I like to just tell it like it is. I like to tell it like it is.
I do too. And I got to tell it like it is. My man got no contact balance. I mean, what am I supposed to ignore it?
Listen, you right. He got
Like,
I don't think. Let's just say he's not. I don't see him making this roster. Let's just say that he's a nice P squad back.
We'll see. So we'll try to move on. I try. All right. But so we're in agreement, right? We really see Jerome Ford.
Jerome Ford is a great explosive back. You can't have him as the primary guy, but he is a nice change of pace back. You know, I think it was a couple of games this past season where he got gashed him for a long run and things like that. He's good for that. But yeah, I wouldn't give him the bulk of the carries.
No, he is, I think, a perfect third running back where it's like he can do a little bit of blocking, but he's not going to be your every down blocker on third down. And he can burst one up if a team, you start pounding them. And I think that's what the ideal is, right? Dylan Sampson's a real physical runner. Quincy is a super physical runner, right? Wear these teams down, get them used to that, and then boom, pop one around the edge with Jerome Ford and then
that's
crack one open real quick, right? You give him 8 carries. If he pops one for 20, cool. Like, he's
like one of those running back that you run zone, and then you put him in, you run zone, play action off of it, have him run out of the backfield, run up the sideline, and have a linebacker have to check him after physically trying to come downhill all the time, and boom, he just run right past him. You can hit him for a nice little 15-yard gain. I think that's kind of the ideal spot for him.
He gonna get to learn all the fun plays, right?
Yeah.
Like
he's definitely, because his best characteristic is that he catches the ball out the backfield well, and he's a good returner and things like that. He's got that speed, so he's definitely gonna get some fun plays this year.
Yes, for sure. All right, so we kind of like look at this and we're like, okay, the Browns want to get to 500 carries. It's like, okay, you can see how many carries you expecting for Q in his first year? That's reasonable.
But if you're saying it's 500, I would tell him he would get like 180 to 200 or something like that.
And that's where I'm at too, about 200, right?
Like
200
that.
feels like a good number. Which is what we had 100 for Jerome, 200 for him. So we about to give 200 to Dylan?
Maybe we gotta up Quincy stuff a little bit more. maybe he in the 250 to 300.
This is my core issue with the running back room right now.
But the thing about it is, you do know if they were like that with Nick Chubb, like how they remember he was limited to not getting 20 carries a game. Yeah. That's back. Like Quincy's getting like 18, 17, 18, and then we shut it down. That's why they went and got Dylan Sampson, because he also can take 18 to 17 if need be. So yeah, that's happening again this year. People are gonna be very frustrated with the Browns again, because I think they want to keep the longevity of Quincy.
Yeah, I mean, you don't draft a running back in the second round just to have a high year, right? Like you're trying to at least get the whole contract at least, right? Maybe even a couple of extra contracts down the line. Like, you know how it works with running back. It's not going to be a long-term deal. But my issue is, like, we're talking about 300, 400 carries for 2 unknown quantities. And, like, okay, I think Quincy, like, that's a pretty easy projection. He big, strong, fast. Yeah, I'm not really worried about him getting to that 200 marker. Like,
Dylan Sampson was he led the SEC in rushing last year, so like he can handle. They both can handle it.
I would say
it's
a little different. It's a little different for Dylan, because Dylan 5'8", 200, right? And it's not that he's small. Right, but you look at Quincy, you like Quincy did that in the SEC too, and then came over to the Big Ten and decided what's better for me is to split carries for my career, right? And he's talked about how he prefers that, so I think that's what they're gonna do with him. It's just like, okay, I can see 200 easy for Q.
Easily. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not the question. It's the Dylan
Dylan is a
Sampson
bit of a
part.
gamble
That's
here,
the one.
right? Like, it's like, all right, man. Like,
No, listen, what you
I would
a
like to have
game.
more than like Jerome Ford and Pierre Strong backing up that gamble. That's all I'm saying. Like, give me one running back who I feel all right about.
As a rookie, he should be fine. Like he should. They only getting like what? What you think he getting like 10 a game, 10 carries a game, 8 to 10?
I think what right now, I think ideally you would want him ran like what, maybe 120, 150 times a year. So whatever that averages out to during the season,
That's a
probably
little
like
bit.
8, 9
Like
carries.
eight. It's like eight, something like that. 8 carries a game.
Yeah. Because it's always going to be less than we think. Because we
Yeah.
always go into the year thinking they about to run the ball 600 times, and they run the ball 500.
I mean,
Last year they ran it 400.
I truly believe that this year is going to be a heavy emphasis on getting back to the run game because that was what was missing last year, and that's how Kevin offense works anyway. If you want Kevin's offense to work, you have to
It's a balance.
You have to successfully run the ball first. Like you got to establish that because you got to get them linebackers to step up to respect you, so I can then throw that bang 8 behind you or throw that over route to the tight end behind you.
Mm-hmm. And this is not a commentary on if I think Dylan will be good eventually, but he's a bit harder to project to be good right now.
I agree. If he did pop on the scene, it wouldn't shock me. But if he also didn't do a thing, that also wouldn't shock me either.
And what do you do if that's the case?
Well, Jerome Ford we're gonna have to really dial up them gadget plays with Jerome Ford if that's the case.
Bruh, that sounds like we about to run the ball 420 times again this year. I'm gonna need Dylan to have a great training camp because that was my whole thing about bringing back Nick Chubb, where people were like, "There's not a role for him." Where I'm like, I mean, if you want to fast track Dylan Sampson, there's not a role for him, right?
Yes,
and maybe that's where the Browns are. They want to fast track Dylan. They saw something in unpadded practice that made them go, "All right, we gonna fast."
First of all, let me stop you. We gonna stop it right there. I can't believe that you just said that. There is nothing for you to see. Nah, it ain't nothing for you to see in no unpadded practice with no running back, no lineman, no nothing.
All right. Fair enough, right? I make that point all the time.
I don't know. You just said that ain't a running back in an unpadded practice.
But do you understand my confusion? Where it's like, what is it that y'all could have seen that made y'all think, man, we don't need to bring in nobody?
The Browns can be stubborn at times. I feel like they feel like they trust they scouting department and what they see, and ain't nobody gonna talk them out of it. That's been, even if it make a lot of sense, they be like, nah. The data say what the data say, and they just stick to that.
It's one of the philosophies where it's like it bites you in the ass, but then you get Jerry Jeudy on the contract for like $16 million for like 3 years, and you're like,
and you're like, you got him in a bar. Right? You got him in a bar. It ain't like it's always bad. Like every now and again they do something good.
Hey, Miles Garrett, perfect example. A lot of GMs would have folded. The Browns
he broke the bank on them. He said, "Yeah, y'all gonna pay me."
He broke the bank here, which was the whole point. They was like, "We not trading him." So sometimes that stubbornness does work against us. You get Deshaun Watson out there against Cincinnati, and you like nobody ever thought that this was a good idea, but y'all just doing it because that's what y'all said y'all was gonna do in August. Yeah. And sometimes it gets you to not fold on the Miles Garrett thing. It's just like, hey, man, pros and cons of everything. Pros and cons, anything. And I'm just sitting here like, I just really hope Dylan Sampson is amazing. Because that's so
to you, that's your X factor on the season is Dylan Sampson.
Can he handle a load of over 100 carries, like with good efficiency? If he can do that, you get what you. I'm expecting Quincy to do a lot of crash test dummy stuff on like short distance stuff, right, and goal line. So I'm not expecting him to have an amazing yards per carry, right? Like,
hey man, first of all, you're not gonna call it crash. I look at Quincy as that. I felt like 2 years ago when they had Kareem, down on that goal line and that short yardage. That was where he cooked. That's where he made his money. And last year they thought Deontay Foreman was that guy, and I watched him get stoned multiple times on the 1 yard line. So when you look at a guy like Quincy, if you watched him at Ohio State particularly last year, he got in that end zone quite often. And I think that's what they were enamored with is when we get down that field, can we find a way to get it in? And Quincy's going to do that. So I'm
Nah,
with you. I don't see him being the guy who's averages 6 yards a pop. Like I don't think that's the case. I
nah.
think that's a more of a Dylan, more of a Jerome Ford if he getting in there type thing. But them gritty hard yards
Uh,
where you need them conversions on 3rd and 2 and 3rd and 3, like that's where he makes his money.
Look, they gonna expect Dylan Sampson to be the blade out there, right? Cutting
Sure.
up, left, right,
Yup.
precision, right? Quincy, who you bring in when you need to bring that wall down, brother.
For sure. Run straight through there. I need you to run straight through there. Need to go be him or you.
Is all we care about. You don't get no like. Did we get the first down?
Yep.
Did we score?
They
That's
gonna
what you
be
need
pretty.
to do.
But you know what? Quincy better make sure he taking care of his body because if that's the case, he better make sure he can last 17 games.
Hey man, it's so wild when you look at running backs and who lasts long and who doesn't, because you would never think the way Frank Gore and Marshawn Lynch ran that they would have renaissances late in their career.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. I watched Frank Gore as a kid, and when I got to the league, this fool was still playing. I'm like, dude, let it go.
Same face mask.
Let it go. Boy, still running the ball hard.
You know, one dude out there with 2008 pads on. Like,
boy, it took AP everything to let it go. AP out there still dropping. When he cut his hair bald, he really was on some more stuff.
hey man, baldness makes you age better. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I wouldn't know. Wouldn't know.
If Deshaun Watson would have went bald, we would be living a different life out here in Cleveland with him. But nope, he did it. Cam Newton should have gone bald.
Hey. Cam Newton's fall really broke my heart. To watch his arm really just like not have it no more. Like it was like, dang, man.
Because like he was truly one of the most fantastic athletes you ever seen in your life.
No, for sure. When I watched him as I was in the league going against him, I was a fan. Just sitting there looking like this dude is amazing.
Cam Newton is the one guy that people in the NFL look at and go, "That's a big dude."
Yeah, for sure. For sure. You like this dude 6'4", 6'5", like that, 240, 250.
He can play
And he rolling like this.
You can always tell those are the physical freaks out there. Like I think the space that Cam Newton used to live in when it came to that dude is the best physical specimen we ever seen. You hear a lot of that with Miles now. Did you see this clip of him? He looked like he bigger and faster and stronger now.
Who, Miles?
Like, yeah. He was running through these drills. I was like, I ain't never seen him look that fast.
I seen Miles. I watched the clip of Miles beat DeJuan in 1 second. It was like, oh, he would have killed Dylan Gabriel on this play. It was the fast. It was like one step, boom, gone. I was like, yeah, yeah.
I was
that boy locked in
about that rep, and they was like, oh yeah, well, you know, he's got to learn to trust that he has inside help, and he's just got to take. And I'm like, bro, it's Miles Garrett. You're not trusting nothing. Like that's why Miles can't practice. You can't break a tackle in and have Miles out there because he's gonna learn all the wrong things because you know that right technique shit that they be teaching in that online room don't mean nothing when it's Miles. It's why you look at Jan Wills' career. It got significantly worse when Miles hit that stride. The better Miles got, the worse Jan Wills got.
He took his confidence from him.
Yeah.
He be beating them so fast in practice. They be like, "Yeah, I ain't good."
Did we ever have a good edge under Joe Thomas?
No.
There's some dudes don't need to practice, dog.
He won. Like Miles, you can't even be in on this play. You gonna ruin what we got going.
Miles, go off to the side. We know you got that.
Don't even worry about it.
Because you don't want to tell him get used to being at half speed. He was like, you're
not gonna take these reps today. Go ahead.
Miles has decided this year gonna be about the sack record.
Hey, if that's the case, bro. First of all, he might as well. If you come into the season and you see like your quarterbacks ain't really getting it done like that, turn it into listen. I might as well do something out of this season. Go ahead, go for that record.
I'm gonna at least get 18.
I think what is his high? 17 and a half, ain't it? I think
Yeah, you gotta get 18, right?
He got some, especially if them D tackles, if Mike Hall and Mason Graham doing their thing, you know what I'm saying? And making them double teams and come early, make them get off them double teams.
That's probably why he out there with that extra giddy up out there. He like, oh yeah, they drafted linebackers and DTs these last 2 years. I'm about to be going, dog.
Thanks.
He looking at Martin Emerson like, you better not this year. Like,
listen, I'm gonna be like, he back. They back on the listen. You need to cover for about 4 seconds. I'm gonna have the ball come out in about 4 seconds.
4 seconds, 2.5. I need 2.5. Just make them think about it once.
Make them hold it. Make them pump fake that ball one time. I promise you that it's done.
I don't even need the whole pat throw. No, I just need the one little like head check. All right, I got him. Like, it's too late. That's all I need, right? But yeah, Miles looks like he gonna be really good this year. Nobody's really concerned about that. I do have my worry about the Browns run game. It is interesting though, Tyvis, as much as we have been worried about these wide receivers, do you know that the Browns have 2 Pro Bowlers on offense that are skilled players, and both those dudes are pass catchers?
Are you referring to Deontay Johnson and Jerry Jeudy?
Oh, no. I'm talking for David Njoku.
Oh, I was about to say. Man,
we'll see if Deontay make the team.
Did Deontay Johnson ever make a Pro Bowl? I know he's been very productive. I don't know if he ever made the Pro Bowl.
I feel like he made one out there in
I
Pittsburgh.
feel like he might have not, because that wide receiver thing is different. But anyways.
But, they moved it from Hawaii. It's a bunch of dudes don't want to go. I'm pretty sure he got there.
Okay.
We'll look it up. But
but no, when you think about David Njoku and Jerry Jeudy, like, see, Jeudy gave you something last year with Jameis where it was like, all right, this dude can be good. So, like, I think a lot of fans was now happy about the trade, because before the trade, it was like, well, this dude's supposed to be all this, but he can't even get 1,000 yards. That was always the thing. And then last year with Jameis, it was a point in time where he was like 4th in receiving yards for like a week or two before Jameis got benched and they stopped throwing the ball. So people are excited. Then you put the Joe Flacco aspect into it. That's when David Njoku played his best. It is with Joe Flacco. Now, I don't know if Joe gonna be the starting quarterback or not. I bet you if you ask David Njoku, he want him to be. So it's still there. And if it is a contract year for David Njoku, he has no choice but to ball out so he can get paid, whether it's with the Browns or with somebody else. So he's going to play with a totally different motivation this year. Plus, it's extra motivated knowing that I got a dude behind me that they drafted that they trying to replace me with anyway. So I'm expecting big years out of both of them dudes.
All right, so to answer the Deontay Johnson question, not only did he make a Pro Bowl in 2021, he was 2nd team All-Pro in 2019.
Look at that. If he could just get it together, man, he got to put it together. Like, first of all, for him, he's
already put it together. There's something else going on there.
His motivation now is, he said it, which he should have never said this. He was like, nobody else wanted to give me a chance but the Browns. They the only team that called me. 1, PR, never say that. Never say that again. That's 1. 2, if that's the case, then the writing's on the wall, bro. You got to make sure you got to make it work, because if you don't, this is it. You might as well go ahead and get ready to do your post-athletic career, whatever that may be.
Now, I got a question for you. If one team called you, wouldn't you be at voluntary minicamp?
Yes. That's why when I said when he wasn't at OTAs, I looked at him and I said, tell me that somebody is sick, or you about to have a baby, like something. Tell me something. And the fact that he missed all OTAs, he showed up to minicamp. He showed up to mandatory minicamp. But
I mean, he would have just gotten himself cut if he didn't show up.
Yeah, that's what I said. I literally said it on the cleavage. I said, if he don't show up today, he might as well just not show up, because he get cut.
What they gonna do to Mike Vrabel? Mike Vrabel cut the dude first thing in the meeting.
You go ahead and get you up. Yeah, you up out of here. They had we call him the Turk. They have him sitting right there at the locker. As soon as you walk in, they want to see you upstairs.
Everybody getting away from your locker immediately. It's like a containment zone around Deontay Johnson locker.
You see that Turk? You be like, oh man, who you coming to get? I'd be like, who you coming to get? They be, you? That's back when I was playing. They be like, you? I'd be like, you coming to get me? Oh man.
You sure you ain't trying to get Tyvis Powell? Like,
you sure this might be a mistake.
He number 32.
Listen, Q, I just made a play in practice. You sure? You sure it's me?
Feeling good. You got an interception in the preseason.
I'm in there smiling, joking around. Yeah, we want to see you upstairs. What?
Damn. Did I get traded? No. We appreciate the hard work you put in.
It is what it is, man.
Oh, man. But, yeah, we were talking about Deontay. I just don't know.
You don't think he'll
if
make
I'm
it?
getting the signs that that's a dude who gonna figure it out here.
Man, he got to, because
I understand.
You think about him, if he get back to anywhere close to where he was, and you put him with Judy and a Tillman and a Njoku, like that you could do something with that. Like I can see a decent year in the passing attack with that. But like, if you don't have him, I don't know who you're putting in at the slot. Who you putting? Jamari Thrash? Is that the backup?
But Tillman gonna be on the outside. You probably gonna run Judy. It's probably gonna be like
who's behind them? Thrash? David Bell?
I'm gonna be real with you. They might put Fanon out there and then like put in like some of the running backs and just have it be funky.
No, they're gonna just if Deontay Johnson don't pan out, they're running 12 personnel. I'm telling you right now. They're running 2 tight ends for sure.
Who runs the fastest on mesh? That's gonna be
we about to run these rub routes. We're gonna get this tight end to rub your dude and go ahead and catch that to get you 6-7 yards.
Judy running one side, Harold running the other side, David on the ball route.
Nobody want to see that. Nobody want to come in here and see that, bro. Like, that's boring.
Hey, look. Are we promising any level of excitement with this offense this year? We talk about running the ball. Like,
listen, let number 12 go in that game and watch how excited the world get.
And you know what number 12 gonna do?
Throw that.
You might get the wheel on the backside every once in a while, young fella. But I'm gonna need you to hit that ball route, or if you see it, throw that shit to Jerry Judy, let him run for a couple yards. Like, that's the game plan. You know what I mean? Well, if you behave, we might throw bench out there, right? You know, like, you start acting right, we might put Dagger back in. Like, it's gonna be 3 cuts. We gonna run levels.
You ain't wrong. Why you joking? You ain't wrong.
that quarterback wristband gonna be 5 concepts, 4 formations each. Like, left side, right side. That's it. Like, 20 plays right there.
They might shock us, man. They might. Listen, they're gonna have to be a physical team. They could be like the 2017 Jaguars, man, where nobody expected anything. Little old Blake Bortles went out there and took them all the way to the AFC Championship. That defense they got to be turned up on defense, and they didn't gave them all these picks. So yeah, they got to figure it out.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.